When was the last time you stopped to truly question something you believed, or asked yourself whether your opinion was genuinely yours, or just a reflection of what everyone around you was already saying? Imagine a world where people no longer pause to reflect, where reactions replace reasoning, and truth is buried under layers of noise. What happens to a society that abandons critical thinking? What dangers emerge when the human mind, once capable of profound insight, becomes little more than a vessel for slogans, memes, and manufactured outrage? This is not science fiction. It is the reality unfolding all around us. Critical thinking, the ability to evaluate, question, and reason, has been steadily eroding, replaced by shallow habits of thought and an increasing dependence on collective consensus. In this video, we will explore how we got here, why critical thought has become endangered, and what it will take to resist the growing tide of what philosophers and psychologists alike are calling collective stupidity. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Mental Dose channel and join our Telegram community, where you'll get early access to new videos and deeper insights on the themes of awareness, personal growth, and critical reflection. Now let's get started. Critical thinking has never been easy. It requires effort, patience, and a willingness to be uncomfortable. But in today's world, it is not only neglected, it is actively discouraged. Modern culture rewards speed, conformity, and emotional reaction. The rise of digital platforms has created an environment where the loudest voice prevails, not the most reasoned one. Outrage spreads faster than reflection. Nuance is drowned in algorithms that prioritize engagement over truth. As Noam Chomsky explained in Manufacturing Consent, power structures thrive when citizens accept ideas without questioning them. By narrowing debate and saturating us with distraction, the system manufactures agreement while eroding independence of thought. Carl Sagan, in The Demon-Haunted World, warned that in a society dependent on science and technology, ignorance is not just dangerous but catastrophic. What he feared was not simply a lack of knowledge but the loss of skepticism itself, the capacity to ask, but is this really true? This shift has left us trapped in a cycle of noise. We are constantly exposed to headlines, hot takes, and half-truths, yet deprived of the silence necessary to think. Thoughtfulness appears outdated in a culture obsessed with immediacy. Reflection feels like a luxury we can no longer afford, and in that vacuum, unexamined ideas spread unchecked. One of the greatest forces driving this decline is the sheer volume of information we now consume. Neuroscientist Daniel Levitin estimates that people today process several times more data per day than in the 1980s. Every hour brings a flood of notifications, messages, and breaking news. But our brains did not evolve for this level of constant input. Faced with overload, the mind takes shortcuts. Psychologists call this reliance on social proof, the instinct to believe something because others appear to believe it. A post with thousands of likes feels more credible than one with none, regardless of evidence. This is not logic at work, it is herd instinct. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, in Thinking, Fast and Slow, described the two systems of thought, one fast, emotional, and automatic, the other slow, deliberate, and effortful. The problem is that in today's high-speed culture, we almost never slow down. We live in fast mode, relying on cognitive biases, stereotypes, and snap judgments. This makes us vulnerable. Politicians, advertisers, and media outlets know how to exploit these mental shortcuts. They package complex issues into simple binaries, repeat messages until they feel familiar, and use emotionally charged language to bypass reasoning. Once a belief feels true, confirmation bias ensures we defend it, even against contrary evidence. Collective stupidity does not emerge because people are unintelligent, but because they are conditioned to react instead of reflect, to follow signals rather than engage in genuine inquiry. The decline of critical thought is not only about technology or information overload, it is also rooted in the way we are educated and socialized. John Taylor Gatto, a critic of compulsory schooling, argued that modern education was never designed to cultivate independent thinkers, but obedient workers. Schools reward memorization, not curiosity. They teach what to think, not how to think. Children quickly learn that conformity is rewarded, while questioning authority is punished. This pattern continues into adult life. At work, in politics, and even in friendships, dissent often carries social or professional costs. Speaking against the consensus risks ridicule, exclusion, or worse. Over time, silence becomes easier than honesty. The psychologist Erich Fromm, in Escape from Freedom, observed that many people unconsciously prefer to surrender their freedom of thought because it relieves them of responsibility. True independence requires courage. It forces us to face uncertainty and resist the comfort of the crowd. And in a culture where identity and belonging are paramount, few are willing to pay that price. Critical thinking, then, is not just a cognitive skill. It is a form of resistance. It requires the bravery to risk misunderstanding, to stand apart from the collective, and to live with the discomfort of not having easy answers. If schools train us to obey, digital platforms train us to react. Social media has become the ultimate amplifier of shallow thought. Algorithms are not neutral. They are designed to maximize time on screen. That means privileging content that is emotional, polarizing, and instantly gratifying. Reflection is slow, reaction is fast, so the system rewards outrage, division, and certainty while penalizing nuance and patience. Marshall McLuhan warned in the 1960s that the medium is the message, meaning that the form of communication shapes our thought as much as its content. Today's mediums favor spectacle over substance, emotion over evidence, and virality over truth. In such an environment, even intelligent individuals fall prey to herd thinking. Groupthink, as described by Irving Janis, emerges when people suppress doubt for the sake of belonging. The result is irrational decision-making at both collective and individual levels. This is the essence of collective stupidity, the surrender of independence to a system that rewards shallowness. It is not stupidity in the sense of low intelligence, but the outsourcing of thought to algorithms, trends, and tribes. And it spreads not because people are lazy, but because they are trapped in an environment engineered to keep them distracted and compliant. Before we go on, if this video is helping you see things more clearly, consider sharing it with someone who needs it. And if you'd like to support this kind of thoughtful content, you can click the thanks button below. Your support truly helps this project grow. Now let's continue. The most important truth is that critical thinking is not disappearing because we are incapable of it. It is disappearing because we are afraid of what it might reveal. To think critically is to risk discomfort, to challenge our identities, and to confront the possibility that much of what we believe is fragile. Carl Jung once observed, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." The same is true of societies. We cling to comforting illusions, even when they blind us to reality. But the path back is not impossible. It begins with awareness. Metacognition, thinking about our thinking, allows us to see when we are reacting instead of reasoning. It requires humility, the courage to say, "I might be wrong," and the discipline to seek out ideas that challenge us instead of merely confirming what we already believe. As Socrates famously said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." That humility is the foundation of freedom. Critical thinking is more than an intellectual exercise. It is an act of moral courage. It is choosing truth over comfort, depth over distraction, freedom over conformity. In an age of noise, the most revolutionary act is to pause, to reflect, and to think clearly. The rise of collective stupidity is not inevitable. Every time you question, every time you reflect before reacting, every time you choose clarity over convenience, you reclaim your independence. And in that act, however small, you light a fire. So now I ask you, will you choose to think? If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below with your reflections. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Mental Dose so you don't miss the next video. Together, we can nurture a community of people willing to think more deeply, question more bravely, and see the world more clearly.